In my lifetime, I have never seen such lying ways in all of my days. When I speak like this, it is me talking. It is no force speaking through me. It is no individual trying to control me. It is me saying, I cannot believe the ways that the laws have gone in this land. That people go to places to look for help, they have an accident, just a mere car accident, and it get turned into a federal fiasco, embarrassing the state of Indiana, ruining our respect and regard for the local FBI, and literally making a total joke out of the Indianapolis Police Department, who thought they needed to have 10 people on the scene at a federal building. Who the hell called all those men? No one had the right to do that. It was an accident, a car accident, but that inappropriate FBI officer pulled a gun on a man who was looking for help because he was experiencing a hate crime, and local police were the ones doing it. They didn't listen, they didn't care, they didn't mind that they were violating federal law in stalking and raping and destroying and molesting and ruining the life of someone. They did not care. That blue line they wear on their vehicles is a lie. The one they put on their uniform is also a lie. When I talk like a reporter, people get upset. They don't want to hear the truth, that a man's life has been utterly destroyed because police officers decided to ruin a man's life over his physical health condition, which is a privately protected thing underneath federal law with regard to our medical health records. I have a sibling who lied to a police officer. That lie she told about her rights to speak about my body created a problem that has gone on now since 2015. Those law enforcement officers have put me on some sort of a stalk list, a mobbing list, and literally across 6 states, I could drive anywhere in my vehicle, and yet, the minute I arrived in a town, a law enforcement officer would cross my path. That is a military tactic of presence and a way to try to intimidate someone. It is a major abuse of power. It is what they do to journalists. And with other journalists, they just beat them up. We've seen pictures of women and men who are journalists who have been brutalized. But in this case, they decided to go into my physical health records, to go to my pharmacist and to engage either an Arab pharmacist or a young female pharmacist whose name I have, to change my prescription out to be something that it's not. That has caused major health issues in my body. It has caused all sorts of headaches that I cannot stop. And openly, it wasn't their lawful right to touch my physical being at all. The monkeying in my bags is like a game for them. I put things away carefully in my storage unit only to find that journals that are old and no longer needed have been now put back on my property bags, as if someone thought they had the lawful right to violate my federally protected right to have a safe storage unit, to open that storage unit unlawfully either with a stolen set of keys or with a master lock capability or a lock picking capability, and get into my property and move things about and steal things. I have had all sorts of computer cords go missing. I have had my security camera system go missing now. I've had things I lovingly set aside for children that I'm bequeathing to in the event of my death from all this crap and my health being not the same go to people, and they are stealing from children. This abuse of power in which I am being put upon with 7 officers at a time when I simply want to get out of the cold, walk into a hotel, ask about room rates, find out if I can plug in a phone, to find out if the person I've been talking to sell my services to had paid for the hotel or not. And yet there's an officer in Noblesville whose name is Lydecker or something like that, which was appropriate because of the lie at the beginning of his name, who just thought he'd keep fucking my life over. Now, most journalists don't swear on television. But this is YouTube. And on YouTube, we've got 10-year-olds showing people how to break into houses. We got teenagers cussing up a storm as if they're Popeye the Sailor's nemesis from a foreign land. But the reality is that we have people that stalk others. They think it's funny. They think it's absolutely funny that I throw things in the trash that I no longer need, and then all of a sudden they are back in my bags, openly violating my right to my own life, my own ability to say, I don't need this anymore. And yet, they violate the roles of my spouse. They violate the roles of my bloodline, not at all. I'm not able to have children. It's one of the things we discovered over 20 years ago. But I had a son who I had to parent. I had to parent him because he was a part of a love relationship that came about over a long period of time. In America, we have the right to choose who we are going to love, do what we wish to do in the privacy of our homes, and no law enforcement officer has the right to infiltrate that. And yet, those law enforcement officers have gone into places, solicited help of employees or their own snitches, and literally gotten me trespassed from food. Now, are we in the habit as American citizens of starving people to death that are in humbling moments of time? Is it the law officer's right to bother someone who is asleep quietly and peacefully on a park bench because that's the only place for them? Because our shelters are full, our Christians are vile, and nobody is paying attention is not true, that the wrong people pay attention. I've had property pilfered from me on a regular basis, possibly by a man named Matthew, who alleges his name is Matthew, who's tall and lean and rides a red bicycle and is always waking people up in the middle of the night. My take on him is that he's a liar, that he is not a drunkard by any ramification, that he might just be a young 30-something police officer trying to find out information or just trying to harass people. The reality is he threatened to suffocate me, he threatened to cut my beard off, he threatened to kill my life, and yet when I communicated that to the apartment complex on which his property he was standing on and alleging that he was in control of, no one in that apartment complex did a damn thing. They said, we can call the police, but they won't do anything. Really? The police won't do anything when someone is threatening to kill someone. You see, there's one thing when you're alone and you start shouting about the fact that people are violating your rights and you want to harm someone for what they've done to you. It's another thing to be standing in front of someone alleging by pulling down